My name is Karina Scholen. For those of you who don't know, I am the conference manager of this ICOP and also the current executive director of the International Permafrost Association. I will guide you this afternoon through this closing ceremony. We will start the closing ceremony with a video created by the students of the DEKRA Hochschule für Medien Berlin. The students worked very hard during the day and also long into the night to prepare these videos for you every morning and deserve a big applause from all of us. The video coming now is not the best of the day, but the best of the conference. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the short film.
GTNP.
Spatial variability. Thor.
I switched polygons.
Are we okay? An interesting scientist.
Cool. Frozen ground engineering.
Very caught. Is that not what you were looking for, was it?
The permafrost is everything for me.
I don't know. Mosquitoes.
Climate change.
Institute.
Tough to research.
I'm very worried to get lost.
So this poster is about rapid balsa decay in northern Finland.
My work is mainly on mapping soil organic carbon.
Well, we're looking at a soil chemistry perspective to permafrost.
That building cracked, another building cracked.
We want it to go longer. We don't want it to disappear.
That story says that we can still reduce most of the carbon emissions coming from the permafrost region.
It's not being solved yet.
It looks like a very complicated place.
I think this is what this conference is all about, is getting all these different components, discipline, themes, topics, to meet and to exchange knowledge to actually face the different challenges that society has to deal with.
Bridging the gap between scientists and local communities.
It gives me a mind wide open to this now, so I gotta bring that back home.
It's a great pleasure for me to present the recipient of the IPA's Lifetime Achievement Award.
And that will not just undermine that little guy, but can spread into the structures nearby.
That turned out to be a gold mine. It's actually possible, with just a few grams of sediments to obtain DNA sequences.
See that the Arctic is warming 2 to 3 times faster than the rest of the world.
I think the best thing we can do is limit our fossil fuel.
Because it's not actually that easy to communicate about something that you can't see or touch.
Now, when I think about ice wedges, I think about food, and I think about soccer. I have to get that out of my mind.
So we are losing all the paleoecological record as a result of losing the permafrost.
And I think there we're just starting to understand and to be able to model that.
And we could see during this conference that there were a lot of new measurement techniques.
It's important to be mobile, it's important to be flexible.
I've heard from most or all of the participants, they really liked it, it was a success. So all the organization things, the technical things, food, events and social events was really good and all people liked it very much.
When you look at these pictures, last Monday seems like a year ago. The conference preparation kept us very busy over the past 4 years and led to this very successful conference. We want to give you now a brief overview into the numbers behind the conference. And who is better to do this than the chair of the conference? Hans-Wolfgang Huberten will now give you a short presentation reflecting on this. So please welcome Hans-Wolfgang Huberten.
Yeah, thank you, Karina. Dear colleagues, dear friends, we start with a number. You have seen this photo, and many of you, or most of you, have tried to get closer and closer together to bring 600 or more people on one photo. And if you look on the participation, we had about 850 attendees in the conference. Attendees in addition to the 754 registered participants and some other attendees also were the students and the DECRA team and all the others. So it was a huge conference. And if someone would have told me at the beginning when we started to plan it that we have to plan with more than 800 people, I would say we have to give up. We cannot do it by ourselves in this conference venue. We have to go somewhere to Berlin in a very professional conference place or so on. But it worked. You have seen that it worked. The 750 participants came from 40 different nations. And you can see here, does it work? Nope. Doesn't work. Okay, and you can see it's not so important, but you can see we are in Germany, so with 157 participants, Germans are the biggest group, followed by the US with 96, by Russia with 91, and I'm very happy that so many Russians, in spite of the crisis they have in their country, could make the way to Potsdam. Then we have Canada with 67, China 66, Switzerland 35, and so on, and so on, and so on. I do not want to read all the numbers, and we had several countries only with one participant, but I think it's a fantastic attendance from all over the world. When you arrived, we gave you some instruments in hand, instruments which you should use to participate at the conference. You can see it here. First of all, it was a program, the printed program, which we think it's very nice and very informative and had only very, very few mistakes or errors in it. We gave you a conference app, and many of you came to me and told me, oh, this conference app is so fantastic, and you used it. Many used it. You can see that you have 508 downloads from the app. So it was really used and really useful for you to plan your sessions and your participation. And we gave you on a stick a lot of other materials, but also a book of abstracts. A book of abstracts which includes all abstracts which were presented at the conference. And it's a printable version of the book of abstracts. So those who are a little bit nostalgic and want to have their 30 centimeters of ICOP at home in their office, you can print it out and put it there. We had a total of 849 presentations, which is a lot. I think it never have been more in ICOPs before. 307 talks, and our intention was not to have too much parallel sessions, and we never had more than 5, sometimes only 4, and this was a wish of many of you coming during the preparation. Please do not make so much parallel sessions. It's not. But for this we had 532 posters, we had 9 very exciting plenaries, and we had an interesting policy symposium. I do not want to go in the scientific outcome or scientific thing because I was not so much able to follow the presentations because other duties here in the hotel had to be more important for you and for me. So the only thing you can do, you can play with the content, and what I showed you here, it's somewhat interesting, it's the shortest title of the presentation with 3 words, Tandems to Win, and the longest title with 30 words. Can you read it or should I read it? No, I think you can read it. But it's incredible. People are extremely variable in how to write a title of a paper. Okay, what also was important and was extremely important for us when we planned the conference was the inclusion of the young researchers. And we were very happy that the PIRN group made such a lot of efforts to organize different events. The first one was a PIRN workshop, which was on Saturday and Sunday before the conference with 153 young researchers. I think it's fantastic that we have here in ICOP our future in such a big number, and they will in 5 or 10 years in the next conference be on the place where we are. It's great. And PIRN organized some other things. You have heard from the soccer tournament. We had 90 players, and you can see in the numbers of 450 bratwurst and 300 halloumi cheese and 200 liters of beer. This couldn't have been consumed by the players. So you can see a lot of spectators were there and looked for the tournament. PIRN also organized the Junior Meets Senior Lounge. They consumed 130 liters of coffee, 50 liters of tea. There were 7 job offers and 15 job searches. And when you walked around, you have always seen people sitting there discussing, writing papers, publications. And so it was a fantastic idea from PIRN, and thank you, PIRN, to organize it. What else? I told you I was very seldom in presentations because I had to run from one to the other place, and I showed you like this Correcaminos or Roadrunner here, that I have a daily mean of 5.4 kilometers, only here in the hotel, going to the different places and try that the conference will run smooth and without any problems. So, conference achievement and statistics, I personally am very satisfied. Not about the organization, but about you, because without you it would not have been possible. So the conference was good, we had a good place, we had high science, and we had a good participation, a lot of fun. And with this I hand over to Karina and to thank all the participants. I make it in a later time in this ceremony. So thank you.
This conference is not only a scientific conference, it is also the opportunity for the International Permafrost Association to hold a series of meetings to discuss the evolution of the organization and to renew its leadership. So a new executive committee was elected last Sunday at the 25th IPA Council meeting. The outgoing IPA president, Anthony Lefkovich, will now introduce this new executive committee. Please welcome Anthony Lefkovich.
Thank you, Karina. And we'll not just talk about the executive committee, but also the IPA's administration, which is also changing. So I want to talk first of all about the Secretariat and Executive Director. The Alfred Wegener Institute has supported the IPA for the last 8 years by paying the salary of our executive director, and we are extremely grateful for that support, which will continue through till the end of November. But over the next few months, our current executive director, Karina, will continue in this role, but the functions of the Secretariat itself will gradually, and we trust smoothly, migrate northwards to Unis on Svalbard. And the position of Secretariat leader and eventually executive director will be supported for the next 4 years by the Norwegian Research Council and UNIS, and we owe them a debt of gratitude too. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce you Sarah Strand, who will become the IPA's Executive Director on December the 1st. Sarah, can you just stand up? Now for the Executive Committee, all of whom will be well known to you. To begin with, I'm going to mention 2 members who can't actually be here because they've already left the conference to go back home. Ma Wei from China, who is from the State Key Laboratory of Frozen Ground Engineering at the Cold and Arid Environmental and Engineering Research Institute in Lanzhou, China, which will be responsible for something, as you'll hear soon. And the second absent member is Isabel Gartner-Röhr from Switzerland, who gave us an excellent plenary this morning on mountain permafrost and is a senior scientist at the Department of Geography in the University of Zurich. Now, for those who are present, Dmitry Sergeyev from Russia, who is the head of the laboratory of the Institute of Environmental Geosciences at the Russian Academy of Sciences. Please stand up, Dmitry. Next, Chris Byrne, who is Professor of Geography at Carleton University in Ottawa, Canada, and is one of our 2 vice presidents. Thank you. And the following person is Vladimir Romanovsky, who is Professor in the Department of Geophysics at the University of Alaska Fairbanks in the United States. He is also an IPA vice president. And I know you've never seen any of these people before. And finally, our incoming president, Hanne Christensen, who's professor of geography at the University Center on Svalbard in Norway. Hanne has been involved with the IPA executive for an amazing 17 years, first when she operated the secretariat, and then for the last 8 years as vice president of the IPA. I cannot think of anyone better prepared to become president, and on top of that, she lives on permafrost. So Hanne, please stand. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've got a fantastic executive for the IPA, and I thank you for all the support you've given me over the last few years. Thanks very much.
The Permafrost Young Researchers Network also elected the new executive committee this week. So now the outgoing president of PERN, George Tansky, is going to introduce the new PERN executive committee. So please welcome George Tansky.
Thank you, Karina. Dear ICOP participants, on behalf of PERN, I would like to thank all participants for the excellent contributions, and in particular the local organizing committee and the International Permafrost Association for the organization of the conference. I think it was a fantastic event with excellent science and presentations and outstanding social events. With the end of ICOP, also the governing bodies of the Permafrost Young Researcher Network will change. For the next 2 years, a new elected executive committee will organize the network and its activities. The network will be led by the new president, Simon Dumais, a civil engineer from Laval University in Quebec, Canada, who is working on permafrost and infrastructure-related issues. With that, I would like to... With that, I would like to thank the old executive committee for its fantastic work and give the word to Simon to introduce the new executive committee.
All right, so thanks, George. So it's a real pleasure for me to be the new PERN president for the next 2 years, and I'll be working with a very nice and very motivated and international executive committee. So can you please, guys, stand up, the new executive committee? So we have members from all over the world where permafrost research is done, so Russia, China, France, Canada, Germany, of course, and Switzerland. And so my only message to you today, if any of you are a student or young researchers or young engineer, go on the PEARN website, register, and become a member of PEARN. You'll get in the mailing list, and so you'll get information about PEARN and a lot of exciting opportunities. And so I'd like to thank the ICOP for organizing for such a wonderful event, and as well for including so many young researchers in this event. And so finally, I'd just like to thank George for his position for the past 2 years. He did an amazing job. And so I'd like to express our acknowledgement through a small souvenir that I'm going to give to George so he can remember his amazing 2 years as a PEARN president.
The IPA and PEARN are responsible for the awards giving to young researchers at this conference. PEARN organized the award process during this ICOP under the leadership of Josephine Lenz. I would therefore like to call her on stage. Please welcome Josephine Lenz.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to guide you through the award ceremony. And the core of a good conference, I think, are good presentations. And PEARN and IPA would like to honor the best presentations given by early career scientists during this conference, both oral and poster. More than 30 judges evaluated almost 300 presentations. This is pretty incredible. And I would like to thank all judges for their effort and for their work on this evaluation process. Oops. Something missing. So nach.
So we had a presentation, but it's missing. It's somewhere. So let's give us like a couple of seconds in the meantime. Misha, could you run the picture in the background while we try to find it? Is it up the... Ich will das nicht escapen, weil das ist schlecht. Can you run the pictures? Trying to take my disparate little voice here. Misha, please. Pictures. Almost. Perfect, thanks a lot. Perfect. Was ist das denn? Früher? Ah, here. And we go back afterwards. Here. Over here. Good to go?
Thank you very much. In the category of science and engineering, we have 2 awards for outstanding oral presentations, the Melnikov and the PV Award, which is sponsored by the IPA and will be handed over by the outgoing and the incoming IPA presidents. Further, we honor 2 presentations, 2 poster presentations in engineering and science, additionally supported by the German Polar Society and the journal Permafrost and Periglacial Processes, published by Johnson and Wiley. This award will be handed over by Joey Merton. And finally, we are happy to honor the best frostbite at the end of the award ceremony. The award for these very short videos promoting Arctic research is also sponsored by the German Polar Society. And now I would like to ask on stage once more Antoni Lefkowitz as the outgoing IPA president and Hannes Christiansen as the incoming IPA president to hand over the first 2 PEARN IPA awards.
I accept.
This is a special pleasure for me to do this now. The Tri-PV Award of an outstanding oral science presentation goes to Melissa Ward for a presentation entitled Using a Mixed Method Approach to Monitor Thermocast Activity in the Eureka Sound Lowlands, Ellesmere Island, Nunavut. Melissa, are you in the room? She's not here? Would you want to take it? She's gone. Okay. So I would like to ask.
Want to receive it on her behalf?
Is Rain here? No. Tony's taking it back?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But don't keep it to yourself. The Pavel Melnikov Award of an outstanding oral engineering presentation goes to Heather Brooks. Now I would like to welcome Dwayne Merton on stage to hand over the Pern IPA Awards for the best poster presentations. The Pern IPA Award for the best outstanding poster presentation in science goes to Rose Biscarbon. We have another outstanding poster presentation award in the category of engineering. And this award is going to Pavel Igorovich Kotov. Pavel, are you in the room? Otherwise, is there a colleague who could take it? I'm sorry. Pavel? Okay, Alexei is taking the award, and I make sure he's getting it to Pavel. We have received an incredible number of 90, or actually more than 90, because there were some late actually, frostbites to the ICOP 2016. This is a huge number, which shows how valuable these new channels of science communications are. Although this time it was not mandatory to receive a total award by the IPA. The evaluation committee was impressed by the high quality of the submitted frostbites, and we had to discuss quite a while. And instead of showing only one, like the winning frostbite, we would like to show the best 3 frostbites before we hand over the award to the very best one. So we will now see the top 3 and top 2 before the winning frostbite author is asked to come on stage and receive the award sponsored by the German Polar Society. So the first best frostbite of ICOP 2016 is from Frédéric Bouchard from Canada. best frostbite of ICOP 2016 is from Raul David Sabin from Romania.
The Carpathian Mountains are well known not only for the presence of Dracula and sheep herding, but also as the place where the term periglacial was used for the first time. Our interest is to find out if there is still a periglacial environment in the context of actual climate change. My name is Shurban Raoul, and I'm a PhD student at West University of Timisoara. My work is focused on the current intensity of solifluction using multiple investigations such as monitoring frost-driven process activity, sedimentary analysis, ground thermal regime, geophysical surveys, and a statistical approach to identify possible environmental controls on block streams and solifluction landforms morphography, dynamics, and spatial distribution. Through this, we hope for a better quantification of present-day morphodynamic of solifluction in the Southern Carpathians.
And now we come to the winner of the best frostbite at ICOP 2016. And the winner is Svetlana Bricheva from Lomonosov Moscow State University.
The distribution of ice wedges within the permafrost is often determined from aerial and satellite images. But sometimes we don't see any ice wedge polygons on them. Any construction in the permafrost zone is difficult and expensive because of distant and almost impassable areas of tundra and taiga. It is also complicated by the danger of ice wedges falling. The incorrect determination of existence and position of ice wedges from aerial and satellite images can lead to disaster. The main object of my work is the application of ground-penetrating radar, GPR, in the detection of ice wedges in eastern Siberia. Moreover, it's possible to use GPR to estimate size and shape of ice wedges, and the accuracy of estimation can be increased with the help of computer modeling.
Svetlana, are you in the room? So I ask you on stage. Yeah, please have a look at all the other amazing ICOP frostbites which were created, and are hosted on the CLIC website, but also linked to our ICOP website. And with this, I would like to thank all candidates. I would like to thank all sponsors. And especially, I would like to thank my colleague, Caroline Koch, who helped me a lot in this evaluation process. As well, I would like to thank our orange friends in the back who helped in the last-minute preparation, and again, our judges for their contributions. Thank you.
Fantastic. And where do we go?
So the International Permafrost Association has a tradition to release conference resolutions at each international conference on permafrost. These resolutions were approved by the IPA Council this week and will be introduced to you now by Chris Byrne, one of the new vice presidents of the IPA. So please welcome Chris Byrne.
I'd like to thank you for the confidence you have placed in me as the vice president. I know I am the vice president because since Tuesday, when I became the vice president, every 12 hours, I have received an email from Jerry Brown. I would also like to acknowledge the two previous Vice Presidents from Europe, Kari Flata and Wilfred Haberle, for the contributions that they have made to the IPA in the last 30 or 40 years. And it is a great honor to be in the same position as them at this stage here in Germany. The resolutions of the IPA Council at the 11th International Conference on Permafrost held at Potsdam between the 20th and 24th of June 2016 are as follows. First, considering the growing recognition and diverse impact of permafrost on global society and climate, and considering the impact of permafrost on those who live or work in polar and high mountain regions, and considering the need to adapt engineering infrastructure to changes in the permafrost environment, and considering it imperative to coordinate and integrate knowledge of the carbon cycle and other biogeochemical cycles in permafrost regions, and recognizing that solutions to scientific questions and engineering challenges associated with permafrost require interdisciplinary teams and international collaboration, and reaffirming the importance of involving members of the Permafrost Young Researchers Network in all of its activities. It is resolved that over the next 4 years, through its collaborations with other organizations and its own action groups, interest groups, and standing committees, including PERN and the Global Terrestrial Network on Permafrost, the International Permafrost Association will improve representation of perennially frozen ground in Earth system modeling using GTNP products, permafrost maps, and new technologies. The IPA will improve understanding of hydrology, ground ice characteristics, and permafrost-related processes associated with the vulnerability of infrastructure, ecosystems, and land use in permafrost areas, and knowledge of hazards in these environments. The IPA will empower citizens concerned with the changing permafrost environment by developing education and outreach products and projects for schools, universities, professionals, and civil society. This is the map for the next 4 years. Thank you.
In the process leading up to the next international conference on permafrost in 2020, the IPA will be sponsoring 2 regional conferences on permafrost to be held in 2017 and 2018. The first conference will be held in Japan and will be introduced to you now by Mamoru Ishikawa. Please welcome Mamoru Ishikawa.
So thank you for inviting me. So first of all, I would like to show this picture. All of you know this is a very famous mountain, Mount Fuji, in the picture. So you know, permafrost exists in these mountains. Then, as permafrost country of Japan, so we are very pleasure to invite permafrost conference to Japan. First of all, I would like to talk to you. Japan is not so far from your home. You can arrive Tokyo 9 to 10 hours. Then you can go Sapporo just 1.5 hour. It means you do not stay somewhere in a transition. So once you can arrive to Sapporo, you feel very comfortable with average air temperature is almost same as here in Europe in July. we can, this is a possible session in our conference, periglacial geomorphology, mountain permafrost, and mountain and ecology and vegetation and hydrology, also engineering. These are ordinary sessions which is normally done in every international conference on permafrost. Also, we offer a special session related to the permafrost in Asia, which include Tibet, Tian Mongolia, China, and Himalaya, and also Japan. Okay, then using this situation, we can offer some meeting which is related to the Pilon in Asia, which is a good chance to communicate with young researchers living in Asian area. Also, GTNP in Asia, which is a good chance to extend GTNP network to the Asia. Also, we can have some extension of IPA activity over the Asian area. Okay, this is a program. It's a very short time, but we can do so much, so diverse session in the short term. So like this, also we can offer the post and pre-field trips. We are now making a plan to do the field trip, which is a very unique area. Normally, we cannot easily touch to this area, including Mongolia, China, and also Kamchatka. Also, we can show our permafrost area in two mountains, Mount Daises and also Mount Fuji. On the middle day of the conference, we can do the short trip and providing some food. You can experience a very beautiful landscape and also hot spring and best seafood. So you can taste real sushi in Japan. But I hope to give you some chance to experience powder snow, but sorry, it's impossible in the summertime. Okay, now I'll show you the important thing is a timeline. So we have only 1 year. So also second circular will appear in September. So then we are very welcome to all of your submission to this conference. Deadline of submission in December 2016. You should schedule. Okay, thank you so much. This is all.
The second regional conference on permafrost, which will also be hosting the EC and the council meetings of the International Permafrost Association, is the European Conference on Permafrost, which will be held in Chamonix, France in June 2018 and will be presented to you by Philipp Schöneich. Please welcome Philipp Schöneich.
So the European Conference on Permafrost will be held at end of June, beginning of July 2018 in Chamonix in France. Chamonix is, as you may know, the hotspot for high mountain permafrost research and more generally for high mountain cryosphere research, because since there are also, well, there's the famous Dent du Midi research spot. There are also glaciers with mass balance measurements on glaciers. There's also more or less permanent temperature profile on an ice dome, on the Dôme du Goûter. And Chamonix itself is not on permafrost, but you just have to look uphill from Chamonix to see the permafrost areas, mainly rock faces, permafrost. You have here the modeled permafrost distribution. The venue will be at the Majestic. That's an old a previous Belle Epoque hotel, which was converted into a conference center. And quite in the middle of the town of Chamonix, with many restaurants and other accommodations and so on. Chamonix is easy accessible from Geneva Airport with about 1 hour by a train or motorway. There are many hotels within 5 minutes walk in the town, so we'll may walk during the whole conference. My colleague put also that there is traditional Savoyard cuisine, that means cheese fondue, cheese with potatoes, and cheese again. I hope you like cheese. It's, of course, a world capital of ski, but mainly of mountaineering, with the famous first ascent of Mont Blanc Peak by Horace Bénédicte de Saussure in the 18th century, end of 18th century already. And it's the place of the first Winter Olympic Games and, of course, a very touristic station. It's mainly an open-air laboratory used by many scientists since a long time for open-air science. The program, as usual, workshops, 2-day sessions on Monday, Tuesday, and the third day on Thursday. 2 days for local field trip excursions. There will be 2 local excursions. You can make both, just alternating. And there will be 3 2-day-long regional field trips after the post-conference trips. The local field trips, one will be pictures to the left, to the Aiguille du Midi, with cable car. And the other one will be on a rock glacier, which is generating also debris flows to the village of Les Ouches, you see the downslope, and also to some decaying ground ice and so on. And some special sessions, it's a bit small to read for you. Of course, mountain permafrost, but also there will be an open session on natural hazards related to mountain permafrost. Open session means that we will invite also some stakeholders and hazard risk managers for a debate, and an open session may be open to public. We want also to promote a session on what we call in France the infra-periglacial belt. That means the belt below permafrost, non-permafrost terrains that can include patchy permafrost, seasonal frost, and special phenomena like cold ski slopes and others. So those who are working on these topics are encouraged to work hard to have something to present on this session. And also mountain infrastructures on mountain permafrost. The regional field trips, post-conference trips, one will be in Valais to fast-moving rock glaciers and to the north side of the Matterhorn with the traditional view. The other one will more be concentrated on permafrost on rock faces in the Mont Blanc and the south side of Matterhorn. And the third one in the southern, more south in the French Alps to the Écrin Massif, more oriented on rock glaciers, boreholes in mountain permafrost, and infrastructures on permafrost. And that's it. You're welcome in 2 years. No timetable yet. You have first look for the Asian conference, and after that you can look for ours.
The next international conference on permafrost, the 12th International Conference on Permafrost, will be held in 2020. The conference location was selected through a vote of the IPA Council and will take place in Lanzhou, China in June 2020. It is my pleasure to welcome Ho Yoon-jin to introduce the conference to us.
Before the formal introduction of our next ICOP, I would like to show our appreciation of Professor Hans Huberten's dream team for this ICOP from Chinese delegation, and we have a very small present for Hans and his team. Local organizing committee. This local organizing committee set up very high standard for what a international ICOP should look like. So we would continue this great tradition under the new leadership of Professor Hanna Christiansen and his also a dream team for IPA. And fortunately, we were also fortunate enough to have Tony to be on the advisory board for our ICOP in 2020. Thank you. Please bring on the step up. Thank you, Hans. This is a statue of the Yellow River, who is regarded very highly in China as the mother river of Chinese as a nation. Thank you, Hans.
Thank you so much.
Okay, it seems everybody's tired and ready to go home. Are you ready to take on the good tradition, or you want to break? According to the resolution of the IPA, and on the trust the IPA and Executive Committee entrusted on us, we are very honored to have the next ICOP to be held in Lanzhou, China, on 22 to 26 of June 2020. Thank you. We'll follow the tradition under the very close relationship and supervision of IPA, and also in coordination with the GTNP, PERN, and the Chinese Academy of Sciences, in coordination with the adhering body of IPA in China, the Chinese Society of Geography. This is our new logo, which is still in design. I would like to show the prototype for this. It basically stands for the elevation of permafrost, for which we have quite a few mountains. And we also have engineered infrastructures in the permafrost regions, both on the high elevations and also at longitudinal permafrost zones. Fortunately, we also have some ice wedges. Okay, so this would mark the 27th anniversary of the ICOP in 1993, held in Beijing. I would like to tell you an old story. In 1988, China was told that China should think about ICOP in Beijing in 1988. But at that time, Professor Yao Fengshu said, "Nah, I'm not ready. We at China are not ready yet. So what about next time?" So after a pretty reasonable preparation, China got the opportunity to have this ICOP in 1993, which was a very good tradition carried on under the leadership of the IPA Executive Committee at that time, Pei Wei, Ross Mackay, and many other great scientists. So this is a very special and opportune time to celebrate this tradition and heritage for permafrost research and application. So our theme is on the permafrost environment under a persistent warming. We are aiming at the excellence, both in tackle with the challenges for scientific assessment and engineering practice. The conference channel will be the Gansu International Conference Center. Will be in the northern bank of the Yellow River, and all the good hotels will be within the reach, about 5 to 10 minutes of walking. And this conference center can host about more than 1,000 people. We'll show some of the pictures afterwards. And the local excursion will be occurring on the 24th of June. And we will have quite a few before and after conference field trips. And we also have set up all the key dates. We don't want to go too much details. We'd like to show a few pictures to see what could be expected if you are really determined to go to China. Well, this is the position of the conference. And this is what it looks like outside and inside. We could have some like a UN meeting for the IP Council and probably EC meetings and the GTMP meetings as well. We have some foods. How about vegetarian? Such as tofu. Okay. In addition, we could also offer some exciting sports. This has been used for more than 2,000 years. Still working. Oh, I'm sorry. In the background, I would like to point out a very special architecture that was built by the Germans in 1904. Survived through the Second World War by the bombing by some of the countries, and still working, and it was updated in 2012. Very, very good conditions. Thanks, Deutsch. We could have some dream teams for this too from IPA. Of course, this is an imported game from England. This is a bridge, Deutsch bridge. Or we also have some traditional devices. We can also arrange some, maybe not dancing by ourselves, could be somebody else dancing and we watch. Okay. We temporarily estimate to be about 600 to 800 participants and some good grants. And we'll try to maintain the low cost and high standards. And registration fee, we try to be reasonable. And we'll have a range of accommodations for different groups. We'll have a lot of committees consisted of very international and regional and also Chinese characteristics. Well, as a Euro, the language should be English, although we have very bad English. Okay. And we'll have all abstracts reviewed by people with very good English and technicality. And the field guidebook will be prepared by Chinese and working together with professionals like Professor Hugh French, Jeff Vandenberg, and many others to come. Okay, how about PERN? We'll try our best to support as many as our PERN members and other young research scientists. We'll encourage the leadership or supportive roles of all levels for this conference. And we also have specially designed workshops for the young researchers. And the support could be through some other following channels, like funding to cover the registration of local costs, special meetings for the PERN members, recognition of outstanding PERN researchers, and invited talks covered by our IPA-affiliated journal, SCAR. And we, of course, would like to encourage or mandate the participation or leadership from the PERN member. And we would like to invite the highly accomplished PERN members to be the plenary session talkers. So there are quite a few options for the field trips and excursions. We have local excursions, and we also have field trips from onto the plateau and also into the northeastern part of China. We'll have the basic cost will be about $150 or euro per day, and we try very hard to reduce the cost so everybody can afford to go there. The local tour will be something like close to Lanzhou, about 70 kilometers to the east, the Maohai Mountains with rich perglacial environments, and also elevation is not too high. We also have more options for some local tours, but you will see it. Okay, this shows where you could be going if you attend the PIT meeting by that time. Basically about 5, generally the duration will be 3 to 7 days. I'll show some of the pictures. The Panda in Sichuan province, we could go ride high-speed train to go there, and the Dujiang Dike, which already in use for 2,500 years, still working. We could have very good beer or vodka, as you wish. We could also visit the Great Wall. As you can remember, in '93, some people already visited another end of the Great Wall. Oh, this is Chongqing, the new city, the red capital of wartime. The Third Gorge. Okay, I'm almost finished. We also have some loss. See, this landscape is a little bit different. Or we could also have wetlands in the desert. These soldiers could also experience some of the frost weathering. One trip will go to the heaven. Okay, we also have some past permafrost evidence, such as pingo scars. We have some engineering infrastructures as well. Pipelines, roads, just to name it. Okay, I think better stop. Herzlich willkommen in Lanzhou, China.
You have seen a banner with many former ICOP logos hanging in the foyer this week. This banner is traditionally handed over from one conference chair to the next conference chair at ICOPs. We will now proceed to the handover of the ICOP banner from the ICOP 2016 to the ICOP 2020. I would therefore like to call on stage again Hans-Wolfgang Huberten and Tu Yun Jin, or the Chinese representatives.
Okay, as chair of this conference, I would like to hand over the banner of International Permafrost Conferences to the representative of the next conference, Hu Yun Ying. Please fold the banner. And Hu Yun, I very much remember the fantastic Asian conference I don't know, 8 years ago, the conference and the nice trip with the train to Lhasa on the Tibetan Plateau. I'm pretty sure that you will organize a conference which will top our conference. So I wish you all the best, and I hope that arriving at Lanzhou in 4 years, we will see this traditional banner hanging at the entrance or somewhere on the conference. All the best for you.
We almost reached the end of the closing ceremony, and we hope that you all enjoyed the week here in Potsdam with us. We have worked hard over the past 4 years and doing this week to make it an unforgettable time for you, and we trust that you did. It is time for the conference chair to thank the participants for their support. I would therefore like to call on stage again Hans-Wolfgang Huberten.
Yeah, this conference has been a big effort, and a lot of people, a lot of partners have participated and helped us, and it's important, and it's the time now to thank all who participated. I cannot read all names, it would be several hundreds, but first of all, I enjoyed really the cooperation from the organizers, our Alfred Wegener Institute, UP Transfer, and the University of Potsdam, under the guidance of IPA. And we also were supported very well by several partners, which you can see here. I will not read all of them, but maybe mentioning, okay, Pirn was not only supported by us, but was a partner in the organization. And I have to thank, in this place, especially Jens Strauss, who took the lead of this organization. In addition to the partners, we had some sponsors, and we called the highest sponsor Mammut sponsor, because Mammut was a big animal, and the sponsors were a little bit bigger. Our institute, the IPA, and the German Science Foundation. We had polar bear sponsors, where I only want to mention the Bowling Center, Reclim, and the city of Potsdam. And the next ones, the penguin sponsors, I do not read it all. And finally, we had Arctic fox sponsors, which you can see here. All the sponsors contributed and made part of the conference possible and were responsible that we could do something in addition to what normally would have done. But then I have my local organizing committee, and I do not want to mention one of them especially. We were growing from 4 people at the beginning to a large number you can see here. And we were all coming from my team, from the Institute. And one of the biggest compliments was made by a Canadian participant some days ago to one of my staff members, and they told him, this conference is organized very unprofessional. And I thought, Faith, that's what we have done. We have shown that we from the local organizing committee came from science and did it. We are not profs, none of us. I come later on that we looked for some help from profs. But we from the team, from the institute, we did our best, and I think you could all feel that, how you call it in Germany, with it heart blood or something is in everybody in all what we did. So I think that we were unprofessional, characterized a little bit the organization of this conference or the feelings, the atmosphere of the conference. We then had the International Scientific Committee. The International Scientific Committee who evaluated the session proposals, the plenary proposals we thought, and did a tremendous work to help to establish the science program. We then had, I told, we are unprofessional, but we had UP Transfer, organization who was responsible for the professional part of the organization, and Andreas Bohlen, the director, is sitting here, and you all have seen Sven Tietze running around yesterday night until 2 o'clock. I think he was the one who has put you inside, because finally some people wanted to sleep in the hotel. And all the others of this team, they really helped us to organize a conference and make the difficult things like the conf tool and all these parts of the conference. We had from our institute the IT and administration, the names you can read here, and we had the communication and media people from our mother institute in Bremerhaven. Sina Löschke, some of you have known, was coordinating all press activities and so on. And we had others who really helped in the preparation and the realization of the conference. We had, and I want to thank them, the Congress Hotel Potsdam, and you all enjoyed the excellent food, the always enough. I think nobody could go away hungry. It was always, and it was not only that we had a lot to eat, it was good, in my opinion. So I want to thank the Congress Hotel Potsdam. I want to thank the Audiovisual Center of Potsdam, the AVZ. They made some recording and the technique here in the presentation, the conference hall. And I want to thank all the excursion and field trip leaders who I also will not cite personally, but you can see there were a lot of people involved to bring you to the one-day excursions. And in spite of I think, 3-hour parking on the Autobahn because of an accident, I think all the rest was really nice and you enjoyed it. And some also enjoyed the German wildlife with some, I don't know how the animals are called, which are biting. So thank you to all expedition and excursion field trip leaders, and for some, especially for those who will start tomorrow or the day after tomorrow with a real field trip. It was a lot of preparation and work to organize these field trips. Thanks to all these people. Then I think I have not to thank again these young people from the DEKRA Hochschule für Medien. I will do it because you all enjoyed this fantastic best of the day or best of the continent movies, and then after 1 or 2 days you all were, it was normal that people are running around with a camera and say, oh, I will talk or interview with you, please stay here. It was really nice, and we are all used now to give interviews. And they made a big job, a fantastic job, and I think they, again, should get a special applause. And there are some others. I only want to mention Gertie Jakob, our artist. You all have seen this polygonal landscape outside in the entrance. Maybe the one or the other has bought one of these polygons to take it home and use it as a seat for his children, or what I will do for my 4 grandchildren. And I think it was nice to have these polygons in the sorted circles, these yellow ones hanging around everywhere. So science, permafrost, and art goes very well together. And I also want to thank Claudia Brandt from the Obacht Agentur for Aufmerksamkeit. It was a person who made all the corporate identity in this fantastic design, all the signs you have of the floor and on the pillars and everything. And she did a big job. So thank you for Gertie Jakob, Claudia Brandt, and all the others you can read here. And then, what would have happened here without our orange helpers? They did a tremendous job, and you can see here, there are many. And everywhere they were present, and we had established, Paul Overdon was coordinating the activity, WhatsApp, and in my iPhone, if a WhatsApp is coming, it makes ping, and it was pinging from morning to the evening, even in the night, when they try to organize which helper has to go where. And I would like to ask the helpers to come here and to Rayon. Please come in front, all the orange helpers. And okay, also thank you so much. You did a big job. I hope you also enjoyed a little bit and you had so much fun at this conference like I had. Thank you. And then coming to the end, I would like to thank 3 charming ladies, especially and personally. I would like to ask to come to me, to Gabriela Schlaffer, to Anne Morgenstern, and to Karina Schollen. Gabriela Schlaffer organized all the registration process, and she put tremendous time and work in it, and I think almost everything in the registration worked very smoothly, and nobody has seen how much work was behind. Thank you, and I have to go. Anne Morgenstern, without Anne Morgenstern, we would not have had such a good organization of the scientific program. Anne did a fantastic job. She made everything with the science program. She had to live and survive with all these critical comments coming from outside, people complaining, I wanted to have an oral and why not, and why I have to go at a poster and so on. And she really made the scientific program possible, and I think we should thank Anne especially for this. And finally, Karina, our conference manager, she started very active 1.5 or 2 years ago, no, 3 years ago, and then she decided to get a baby. And she left me alone for almost 1 year. But then she came back, her baby is here with her father of the baby and the husband of Karina, admiring her mother standing here. And then she came back and tried to reorganize all the chaos I had produced because I have taken over the responsibility for all the technical things. And she organized everything. She made it perfect. Sometimes she was a little bit at the border of a breakdown, but she told it. Without Karina, also, it would not have been possible. Karina, thank you. And in the morning, I told Karina, well, you will get some flowers. And said, oh, I do not want to have flowers. I want to have a bottle of gin. And here. Okay, now I'm coming to the end of my thanks. Now I want to thank all of you. You were fantastic participants. You made us, and especially me, the running of the conference very easy. And it's always fantastic if you are working around hard, and I told you how much I was running every day, and you can see in your faces, and you are coming to me commending it, that it works and that you accept and acknowledge the hard work, my team, and we did. So thank you all for participating. You are the important part of the conference. Thank you for being here in Potsdam. I hope you go back with a good remembering Potsdam and this conference very well, and I wish you a good travel home. Goodbye.